disruptive.
America that I fought for.
Weird thing to happen. To anyone out there who has not read a George Orwell book like 1984, you definitely want to consider getting yourself a copy after this, because everything that Orwell predicted as a warning is coming into fruition. It's coming, folks. It's coming into our light. So, announcing that the Trump administration is collecting data on all Americans, and they're enlisting the data analysis company Palantir to do it. The New York Times reports that President Trump has enlisted the firm co-founded by far-right billionaire Peter Thiel to carry out his March executive order instructing government agencies to share data with each other. The order has increased fears that the government is putting together a database to wield surveillance powers over the American public. And of course, this is linked to the New Republic saying that Trump taps Palantir to create master database on every American. Trump's dystopian plan is already underway. This is happening, folks. This is happening. Like I said, you have not read George Orwell, you definitely want to consider it to see what's ahead. Palantir Technologies is back in the spotlight after securing a major federal contract that could reshape how the U.S. government uses data. Under the new agreement backed by the Trump administration, Palantir will build a vast centralized data platform that can connect sensitive records from across key agencies, including the IRS, Social Security, immigration databases, and more. This platform, powered by Palantir's Gotham software, is designed to analyze behavioral patterns in real time, flag potential threats, and support decisions around public safety and fraud detection. You know what this kind of sounds like to me? This kind of looks like in the works of a social credit score. This seems like China. This seems like something the old Soviet Union would have considered if they had the technology. This seems like communism to me. But this is Trump. This is, libertarian billionaires. They're the America, yeah, America first. Is this making America healthy by doing this? Is this healthy? Is this the healthy option? Palantir isn't just improving old databases. It's building what some experts are calling the most expansive civilian surveillance infrastructure in U.S. history. Instead of scattered files and spreadsheets, the platform will use real-time data integration and artificial intelligence to profile behavior, detect fraud, and identify individuals or patterns deemed risky by the system. Again, all the people out there that are major critics of China and their social credit program, the Communist Party of China, know what's happening in your backyard. You're about to get a taste of your own medicine with this. And this is through the guise of making America great again. At the core of the project is Palantir's Gotham software, already used by defense and intelligence agencies. Gotham will now be used on the domestic front. It doesn't just track information, it makes judgments. It could influence everything from how benefits are distributed to who gets flagged for closer scrutiny by law enforcement or immigration officers. So, good to know where Doge was heading down this direction. Good to know that all the, expansive surveillance and the 20 plus years of neocons and the Patriot Act, this is all leading up to this. Civil liberties groups are raising serious alarms. Their concerns go beyond standard data centralization. The issue isn't just where the data goes, it's who controls it, how it's used, and what happens when it's wrong. Groups warn that the system could easily evolve into a digital dragnet with no clear public oversight or legal guardrails. It could be used for political purposes, targeted surveillance, or even immigration crackdowns. Critics say the more consolidates both power and data and power, raising fears of misuse during an already polarized political climate. Again, you look at the Patriot Act, you look at the last 20 years, you look at even the last 30 years of government policies and where technology lies between the government's overreach and technological advancements. It's leading to this. It's leading to this. And the fact that you have billionaires like Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, Elon Musk, and Larry Ellison cozying up to the Trump administration that just handed them a huge paycheck to do this, you know that you got screwed over. That Trump is not the savior. Trump was not going to save America into this bastion of what America used to be. He sold you out. He sold you out in a liquidation sale to the highest bidder, which happens to be the tech billionaires. It's now the tech bros that are running the world. And how is this any different than what the WEF was pitching? Because they were patting themselves on the back for having earbuds that can read brainwaves. They can track your thoughts. So how is this any different? How is this any different than what Klaus Schwab and other countries have already also implemented? And there's a question of permanence. What starts as fraud detection could quickly morph into a total of control, particularly in an election year where data is already being weaponized. As reported by Wired and the Daily Beast, another part of this federal data effort, led by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, is building a parallel system to track and monitor immigrants using personal data. This has sparked even more concern among privacy watchdogs. The contract marks a major shift in how the federal government handles data and how much it relies on private tech firms like Palantir to manage sensitive information. With real-time analytics, profiling tools, and AI-assisted threat detection, this deal could define how the state operates in the digital age. But with that power comes scrutiny. This is more than just a tech upgrade. It's a test on how far AI can go inside the state and whether the public will accept it. Palantir may be winning in the stock market for now, but the real story is unfolding, and it could have long-term implications for privacy, civil rights, and the balance of power in America's digital infrastructure. So what they're telling you is exactly what George Orwell was warning people, that people within the tech industry have come forward, the whistleblowers, what Edward Snowden has warned people about, that the continuation of this, if we continue to unleash these billionaire oligarchs with their technology, with their powers that be, with the amount of money that they continue to accumulate through tax cuts, through the cutting of Social Security and Medicaid, they're doing this to create a technological feudalist society, which is the ultimate goal for these people. For people that seem to not care about politics, they sure seem to get their foot in bed with politicians to pass this through. They seem to be very, very, very keen to being inside the political whims. For someone like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos that declare themselves libertarians, they are hand and foot within the government, and they're getting contracts through the government. So yes, they are part of the deep state. They are part of the cult. And how is this any different than the New World Order that has already accumulated over the years? How is Trump any different? That he sold out America to the tech bros that are going to turn this into a feudalist society, which is their ultimate goal. Their ultimate goal is to have unbelievable power and manipulation control, and they can easily control people more and more so because AI, because of Doge, because of all this technological advancement to crack open databases and know your information, know your backgrounds, know everything about you. Why do you think Elon Musk cared so much about government efficiency? Is it because he wants it to make it beneficial for you? No. He made it beneficial for the top 1%. He made it beneficial for himself to get better control of you. The more information they have on you, the easier it is to manipulate large crowds. The easier it is to scare and fearmonger people. That is what they're trying to do with this. They're trying to control the mass population with AI technology. It's not making it efficient. It's not making it beneficial for anybody but themselves. As Chris Hedges would say, that the Democrats and Republicans, it's like a fight between the corporatists and the oligarchs. They all operate pretty much the similar way. The only difference is Democrats are the corporatists. They want to align and create these, synergized groups and organizations like the WEF, like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They want to create the NGOs. Republicans, however, they want to be the oligarchs. They don't want to be part of any group. They don't want to, morph into some other organization. They want to wield power for themselves. And this is where it's heading towards. So here's obviously some more headlines about this. Palantir to create vast federal data platform, tying together millions of Americans' private records, and the stock is jumping. Trump appears to be building an unprecedented spy machine that could track Americans. Again, does this sound like mega? Does it sound like Maha to you? Is this making America healthy again? That a bunch of billionaires, a bunch of oligarchs has vast amount of information on you every single day? Everyone was so up in arms when Edward Snowden revealed that Obama was using NSA to spy on people. Everyone was so panicked about that. I don't see a lot of people. There are some people, obviously, there are some people that are criticizing, that are mega supporters, but not a lot of people are up in arms with this. They want to still pretend that Palantir is different than the deep state. Palantir actually gives a damn about Americans. Not like that deep state, not like the Democrats. Oh, the libs. Well, here's how much Palantir really doesn't care about America or Americans, as Max Blumenthal points out. So this is Palantir CEO Alex Karp, the mad scientist himself, not just by his appearance, presents Palantir CEO Alex Karp presents the Palestine Solidarity Campus protest movement as an existential threat to the American empire. If we lose the intellectual battle, we will not be able to deploy any army in the West. Ever. That's what Palantir is worried about. They're not worried about infrastructure. They're not worried about healthcare. They're not worried about making things efficient for you. They want to make it efficient for them, meaning that they want more wars so they can profit off it, so they could sell the technology to both sides of the party, both sides of the aisle, to mass murder as many civilians as possible. That's their biggest concern. And the biggest concern for them is the fact that there's college protests, that there's mass amounts of people that want a ceasefire, that are on the side of Palestine, that are chanting free Palestine. They're worried that they're losing the battle, and they are losing the battle. They're losing the battle immensely. There's the narrative control is losing control. And that's why Alex Karp on this panel here is petrified in the fact that if they lose the narrative, they lose control. If they can't censor and silence people and throw people into jail for op-eds, then they're going to lose a lot of their business, which is manufacturing war. Listen to this.
What I think is a often overlooked part of this battle is we kind of just think these things that are happening across college campuses especially are like a sideshow. No, they are the show. Because if we lose the intellectual debate, you will not be able to deploy any army in the West ever. And and of course our adversaries.
So he is worried that if, God forbid, people gather together and know information and know the truth about why these wars exist, why the genocide's happening, the formation of Israel, that's why they had to censor TikTok. That's why they're going after college students. That's why CCOT is filling up not only with illegal migrants, but also people that write op-eds and students on permanent residency and student visas that are legally allowed to be here. But because, God forbid, they practice their free speech, a constitutional right, regardless of who that person is, they're sent to the big house. Because Palantir needs their weapons. Palantir needs the war to continue on. Like Julian Assange tells us constantly, that the point of these wars is not for solutions. The point of these wars are to have continuous wars. Continuous wars to make the most amount of profit for scumbags like him. So here is another example where here's Alex Karp again at a function here in Washington, and he gets heckled out by a Palestinian supporter. He gets heckled out for the mass amount of technology that's used in this genocide, which we covered, and it's proven fact that Palantir is directly responsible for giving the IDF this AI technology to wipe out an entire population, to wipe out an entire civilization. They're doing an ethnic cleansing using their technology. And Alex Karp is proud about this. Proud about this. So watch what happens when he gets heckled out for the truth of what Palantir is capable of doing.
We'll get wealthy.
Getting wealthy off of killing Palestinians. With Palantir kills Palestinians with their AI and technology.
Oh.
You're killing my family in Palestine.
Yeah. And, you know.
What kind of person are you? How do you sleep at night?
Well, if you.
Shame on you.
So the primary source of death in Palestine is the fact that Hamas has realized that there are millions and millions of useful idiots that will.
Using that excuse. This is why you don't get left to speak. Because you are killing my people and you're justifying it because of Hamas or anyone else.
Can we get security up there? Okay. One of the most.
How dare you?
Okay.
How dare you? Your AI and your technology from Palantir kills Palestinians.
Mostly terrorists. That's true.
No, it's not. If you say mostly, so it's okay to kill.
Okay.
innocent other
Look, if your argument was so strong, wouldn't you let me talk? It's so strong. It's so strong. It's so strong. Your argument is okay. That's. Thank you for.
Anyone else who supports this technology and AI to kill Palestinians.
I mean, the smug arrogance of something like that. The moment that this woman is calling out Palantir for the heinous destruction that they're doing to Gazans, for him to just go like, oh, this woman has a problem with me using technology to kill people. Oh, what's this? What's this bitch's problem? Oh. Well, if you had a strong enough argument, you would let me defend myself. You'll let me defend the fact that I'm making a huge amount of profits for killing, children and babies that have nothing to do with October 7th, but have everything to do with the Greater Israeli Project, have everything to do with the war machine, with my profiteering. Hence why they still continue to do it. Hence why the Trump administration that you thought was going to save America, make America great again, sold you out completely. Sold you out completely. Don't you feel like chumps now? Don't you feel like chumps for being a part of this system, for voting this guy in, thinking that somewhere down the line, maybe Trump's doing the right thing? And yes, sometimes Trump does the right thing. But in the end, there's a reason why he's in power. There's a reason why they tried to assassinate him twice, and he got inaugurated to becoming the president. There was obviously something that kept Trump afloat compared to the deep state. And that's because Trump is inching closer and closer to that technological feudalist society that the deep state so desperately wants. Just like how Canadians got duped with Mark Carney, just like how Democrats got duped with Barack Obama and Bernie Sanders, now people are starting to realize that Donald Trump is no different. They're not at all on the side of you. None of them are on the side of you. The minute they walk through those doors, because of how corrupted, how corroded, how awful and disgusting the people, the swamp that surrounds places like the White House, like the Capitol, this is what you get. This is what you get. And it's time for Americans, it's time for Canadians, because Canada's going to have the same thing too. This is happening worldwide. This is not just America's problem. This is a worldwide problem, because Palantir is going to test this on America, and then they're going to transfer that over to Canada, over to the UK. There's already implications already set in these different nations. They want this to happen. They want a technological, one world order, feudalist society where the peasants, where the plebes become technological slaves to the oligarchs. And this is how they're doing it. So here's Sir S-Scanner. Says, we've been warning you for years. Trump did not drain the swamp. He outsourced it to Palantir. And now he's handing over your entire digital soul, your data, your metadata, your biometric signature to a surveillance empire with deep ties to Israel, defense contractors, and the beast system itself. Again, how is this any different than the deep state? How is Trump a fighter for the deep state, for globalists, if he's selling the country out to those people? This isn't 5D chess. It's a full spectrum submission. The same man who sold you freedom is now centralizing control. You didn't win, you got assimilated. But sure, trust the plan, trademark. I like that adding there. Hope you enjoy your AI dossier. You built it, he signed it, Palantir owns it. And this is what 20 years was leading up to. This is Bush era talk here. When they tried to sell you freedom, when they tried to sell you the idea that America, the reason terrorists exist is because these terrorists want to steal America's freedom. Well, guess who stole America's freedom? The government. Not the terrorists, the government. Because the government are the ultimate terrorists. They're the ones that conduct the most terror to scare people to give up your rights. And this is the example of it. This is why they did January 6th. This is why you have federal agents scaring people on the regular. This is why the FBI has no interest in actual law enforcement and instead developed these schemes to manufacture consent, to steal people's civil rights and liberties, their constitutional freedoms and values of what makes America, America, sell that away to the worst of the worst, to the corporate estate, which is a form of fascism. It's a form of fascism. When government entities side and collude with corporate capital to go against the majority of civilians. That is a form of fascism. And it's happening, folks. So Whitney Webb, who is another great author, if you ever read her books and know her reporting, she dives deep into all this. And she's been warning for years about how this was coming, that this was going to be inevitable, that Trump was not a savior. And people were angry at her. They said that she's betraying, she's blackpilling people. But Whitney Webb was just warning people exactly of this moment. So here, for example, says, dude, J.D. Vance owes his entire career to Peter Thiel, who helped create the domestic terror panopticon. How do you say that? Panopticon? For the CIA that targets Trump supporters and dictators alike. So, J.D. Vance, the guy that people praise him as the simpleton from Ohio that struggled and his family went through harsh life, you know, that middle class struggle. He picked up his bootstraps and became the vice president. Just note that there's a reason why they hand select people into positions of power like this. It's like we saw with AOC. Just like we see with Bernie Sanders. There's a reason why they keep these people in the position of power they are. There's a reason for it. They drag these people in, they indoctrinate them, they blackmail them, they manipulate them, and then they have control over them. So J.D. Vance, even though he might have that, you know, poor middle class upbringing, was hand-selected by people like Peter Thiel and Palantir to promote this. Even though J.D. Vance goes around talking about freedom and freedom of speech, he isn't developed to bring this system forward. So she goes on. This is a bit of a long thread here. Thiel created Palantir to rescue total information awareness, a DARPA surveillance program. The Pentagon. We're just giving it right to the Pentagon at this point. Created by the same people behind the continuity of government protocols to suspend the Constitution and round up unfriendly Americans during a national crisis. The database with those unfriendly Americans still exists, and the last resort on it from 2008 stated that it contained the names of 3 million Americans. It still exists, and Thiel's Palantir, also now funding the Trump-Vance ticket, directly decides who goes on the list. Thiel helped resurrect another DARPA surveillance program called LifeLog, using his early investment in Facebook to mold the social network to serve LifeLog's original purpose. LifeLog was closed down the same day Facebook launched. Did you know that? Did you know that? I didn't know that. So, Palantir's first funder was the CIA's In-Q-Tel, and the CIA was their only client until 2008. One CIA official involved in guiding Palantir's early years, Alan Wade, is a former business partner of Ghislaine Maxwell's sister, Christine, in the company Gilead. Another Thiel-funded and backed companies like Clearview AI used the fact that they helped form ID and imprisoned those present at the Capitol on January 6, 2021 as part of their sales pitch. After January 6, Clearview's business with law enforcement grew by 26%. So, look, January 6 was not an insurrection. It was a marketing demonstration using federal agents as actors. It was a giant infomercial. Wow. While Thiel has been described as a libertarian or alt-right, Palantir CEO Alex Karp told the New York Times in 2020 that his long-held fear that the American far right would murder him for being Jewish propels a lot of decisions made at the company. Palantir is also a major driver of pre-crime and predictive policing. Another Thiel-backed company, Carbine 911, seeks to bring pre-crime to 911 call centers. Carbine is immediately tied to the Israeli intelligence and received at least $1 million in funding from Jeffrey Epstein. Wow. You feel gross to live in this society Do you feel like the 21st century is moving far away from the, you know, the dreamscape of, you know, the Jetsons or Star Trek and more towards the worst part of iRobot? Do you feel that? Do you feel like the 21st century is not going in this, you know, magical direction that, you know, people in the 60s thought? I don't think the Land of Tomorrow predicted this, but there was obvious signs knowing that the government was colonizating with tech companies to build technology like this. And like I said, how is this any different than what the WEF pushes on the regular? So to all the Trump supporters out there, because I know there's still going to be people out there that are still going to champion Trump, like the good cult lead followers that they are, like the good death cult followers that they are. They're still going to cheer Trump as still saying that, oh, he's still America first. He's doing the right thing. He's going tough against the globalists and Democrats and liberals. Urgh. People that are against that are butthurt. I even saw one comment where someone said that, oh, well, you shouldn't have anything to hide. Like, you're so worried about Palantir surveilling on you, you shouldn't have anything to hide then. That's not the point. That's not the point. Just like it wasn't the point 20 years ago when people are upset about the Patriot Act. What happened to that? What happened to those people? Oh, they all went silent because Barack Obama was in control now. So, just to show people, this is from Wide Awake Media, the WEF's Nita Farahani suggests that brain sensors embedded in headphones and other devices will soon be keeping tabs on your mental state. Things like, are you tired? Are you paying attention? Is your mind wandering? Are you happy or sad? Again, how is this any different than what Trump, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, Palantir, Larry Ellison, all this AI investment, how is this any different? Because this is taking control of your personal thoughts, of your identity, taking full control of you as a person and turning you into their slave, turning you into their puppet. And for all the people that harshly criticize China for their social credit score, criticize, the communist countries of South America and Venezuela, and oh my God, these dictators like Vladimir Putin, they can't even come to comparison to what Western society is going to do to its own people. That the UK, Germany, Canada, the United States, all of these developed nations, because of being in the grasp control of villainous, psychotic, sociopathic oligarchs, these monsters, these soulless monsters. Peter Thiel is not far right. He's a soulless monster. Alex Karp is a soulless monster. Elon Musk is a soulless monster. They're anti-human, they're anti-civilian, and they don't form any interest. They have no respect, tolerance, or any obligation to whatever nation they serve. They want control, they want power, and this is how they're going to take it away from the ordinary person. They're going to open up the gates. This is what Doge was effectively. This is what Doge was. It was an agency, a surveillance agency that opened up the charts, that opened up the data servers to spy on you, give that power to the tech oligarchs, send that off to an AI coding system that they manufacture so that they can decide the ultimate fate of you. Whether you get Social Security, whether you get Medicare, whether you go to a hospital, whether your children go to school, if you get on food stamps, whatever the case may be, sending that data off to the oligarchs is exactly the whole intention of all this. They weren't going to save you money. They weren't going to do anything in the interest of you, and this is proven fact. In fact, the money that they claim to save is going right to the Pentagon. Right to the Pentagon for more war, for more killing, and more surveillance of you. So, at this point, because I know people are going to say, well, what do we do now? What do we do now? Because this is happening. At this point, the only thing I can suggest is you have to give up the electoral process. Electorally is not going to save us whatsoever. You got to drop the political parties. You got to get out of these cults, get out of the faction of the Crips and the Bloods, and you got to fight for survival. Meaning that people across all spectrums, just like we saw with the Freedom Convoy, just like we see all across the world, it's possible. It is possible. But you have to drop the mentality that there's left versus right, or good versus evil, that Trump is a savior to the Democrats, and that the Democrats would not do that. You got to drop all that. Because anyone within these walls, with the capacity and the whims that they have, are never, ever going to serve the interest of you. And that's where it comes to grassroots initiatives, where people have to align themselves together and fight the good fight. As it says on my shirt here, which you can get at Kitz Corner, united we stand, divided we die.